Sai Ram students, welcome back to part 2 of our lesson, the Pandavas in exile. Yesterday we had begun with this lesson and today we will be continuing with the same. But before I begin with the lesson, let me give you a short recap of what we did in our last class. We all know how these Pandavas were sent into exile. They were supposed to live for 13 years. Now, during their 13th year, they experienced something. And that is how the lesson begins. These Pandavas, they were chasing a deer. And because of this, they wandered very far from their dwelling place. The deer vanishes and they decide to stop because they know now it's in vain if they go further. By now they are very thirsty, so they decide to sit under a tree. Now Yudhishthir, he tells Sahadev to go and search for water. Sahadev goes, but he does not return. Yudhishthir is very anxious. He asks Nakul to go in search of his brother and also in search of water. Even Nakul does not return. Like this, he sends Bhima and Arjun. Even they don't return. He is worried now. So what does he do? He decides to go in search of his brothers. He walks for a short distance and then he sees a pool. The clear water, and he is very happy on seeing that. But the moment he raises his eyes, he could see all his brothers lying down. He was shocked, he was surprised, he didn't know what had happened. So basically what had happened, when he sent Sahadev, the first one, to go in search of water, when he reaches the pool, when he's about to drink water, he hears a voice. Now how does he react to voice? To that particular voice, we'll see in this class. So quickly just go get your book and pen and start jotting down the meaning of all the hard words. Let's begin with part 2 of our lesson, the Pandavas in exile. He could still see nobody. He seemed to be alone except for the birds chirping in the trees and dragonflies zooming over the water. It must be my fancy, Sahadev thought. The hot sun makes my imagination work. He decided to ignore the voice of the invisible speaker. He was too tired and thirsty to wait. He made a cup of his hands and kneeling down began to drink. So when Sahadev heard Yaksha's voice, he couldn't see anyone except for the birds chirping and the dragonflies zooming over the water. Then he thought it must be my imagination. This hot sun makes my imagination work. And therefore, he decided to ignore the invisible speaker. He was so thirsty that he could not wait anymore. So what he did, he made a cup of his hands and kneeling down, he began to drink water. But hardly had the water touched his lips when he felt himself struck down. Sahadev's senses reeled. The world went dark and he fell down unconscious. So hardly with the help of his hands, he made a cup and he just brought it very close to his lips, and the water had just touched his lips that, he felt something was wrong. His senses reeled. Something seemed to revolve and he fell unconscious. Everything went dark and he fell unconscious. When Nakul arrived shortly afterwards, he was grieved and surprised to see his brother in this condition. But so great was his own thirst that he did not wait. He rushed to the water's edge to drink, but as he stooped, he too heard the Yaksha's warning voice. However, he too paid no attention. He drank, and instantly he too was struck down and rendered unconscious. When Bhima came to the spot, the same fate overtook him. Though he was strong and mighty, and though he sent a shower of arrows in all directions and searched all round for the hidden enemy. So Sahadev ignored Yaksha's warning. After that, who came? Nakul came. And Nakul was very sad seeing his brother in that condition. But he was so thirsty that he wanted to drink water. And what did he do? He rushed to the edge of the pool to drink water. But as soon as he stooped down to drink water, he heard Yaksha's warning voice. But again, he paid no attention and he drank water. And the same thing happened with Nakul as well. He also fell down unconscious. After Nakul, Bhima came to the spot, and the same thing happened with him, though he was very strong and mighty. He also sent a shower of arrows. He didn't know from where the voice was coming. He didn't know who that person was. He thought it was some hidden enemy. So he started, aiming here and there with his arrow, but the same thing happened to him as well. Arjun fared no better, and when Yudhishthir came at last to the pool in search of them, he found his 4 brothers lying as if they were dead. For a long time Yudhishthir wept over them. Then, feeling his thirst overpower him, he dragged himself to the edge of the water. But as he bent down, Yudhishthir heard Yaksha's warning voice. Yudhishthir looked around. "Who are you?" he asked. "Ask your questions and I shall answer them as well as I can." So after Bhima, who came? Arjun came. Okay, and even the same thing happened with Arjun as well. At last, who came to the pool? It was Yudhishthir who came to the pool in search of his brothers. And what did he see? He found them as if they were dead. For a long time he cried, and then feeling of his thirst overpowered him. He was thirsty as well. So he dragged himself to the edge of the water. And as soon as he bent down to drink water, he heard the same warning voice again. And then Yudhishthir asked, "Who are you? Ask me your questions and I shall answer them as well as I can." Then the voice said, "I am Yaksha, O Yudhishthir, and it is well for you that you heeded my warning. Now listen to my questions." Then the voice said, "Oh, I am Yaksha, Yudhishthir, and it is good that you heeded my warning, that you paid attention to what I said. Okay, because the four brothers who came initially, they didn't pay attention. So it is good that you paid attention to what I said. Now listen to my questions. What makes the sun shine? That was his first question. The power of God, Yudhishthir answered. So one by one, Yaksha started, asking questions. What is man's surest weapon against danger? That was his next question. And Yudhishthir said, courage. Courage is his surest weapon in danger. If you can, if you have a lot of courage, you can overcome anything. That is what even Yudhishthir answered. Here. What gives more to man than even the earth does? What feeds him and sustains him and makes him strong? The Yaksha questioned. So the next question that Yaksha asked was, there is something or there is someone who gives more to a man than the earth. So what is that feeds him and sustains him and makes him strong? To which Yudhishthir replied, a mother, surely. It is only a mother who gives man life and feeds him and sustains him. A mother is more than the earth. See how smartly and how wisely he is answering. So to this question of Yaksha, Yudhishthir replied that a mother is a one who gives a man life, feeds him, sustains him. What is sustain? Supports him. Okay, and he also says that a mother is more than the earth. When does a man become loved by his fellows? That's his next question. Yudhishthir returned, when he gives up pride. What is that? Okay, so the next question that he asks is, when can a person be loved by his fellow men? And Yudhishthir says, when he gives up pride. What is pride? A feeling of being better than others. When you give up this feeling, okay, you'll be loved by people around you. Then Yaksha asks the next question. What is that? Let's see. What is that which makes a man happy when he has lost it? There is something that a person loses, but he is very happy after that. What is that? So Yudhishthir answered, anger without hesitation. For he knew that when a man gives up anger, he is full of peace. So to this question, Yudhishthir answered that anger is something which is lost, makes a man happy. Because when a man gives up anger, he is full of peace. Yaksha continued. What can a man give up and immediately become rich? So to this, Yudhishthir replies, desire. It is only the man without desires who is really rich. But even if a man has 1,000 things, he will be poor if he is not satisfied. So what does he say? If a man who is without any desire, he is rich. Even if a man who has thousands of things, okay, he will be poor. Why? Because he is not satisfied with those 1,000 things that he has. So the Yaksha asked his questions and Yudhishthir answered them well. At last the Yaksha said, O king, I am well pleased with your answers and I shall restore to you one of your brothers. Choose who it shall be. So Yudhishthir was answering very wisely. Okay, Yaksh kept on asking questions and Yudhishthir gave fantastic answers, because of which Yaksh was very pleased. He was very happy. And he tells Yudhishthir that now I shall restore, I shall bring back to you one of your brother. You decide who it shall be. Yudhishthir looked at the unconscious forms of his brothers. It was hard for him to decide, but he spoke at last. So it was very difficult for Yudhishthir, to decide. He looked at his brothers, the unconscious forms of his brothers. It was very hard, but then he decided. Let us see what he decided. O kind Yaksha, he said, restore to me my brother Nakul. And why Nakul? The Yaksha's voice asked. So here Yudhishthir decided to have Nakul back. So he tells Yaksha that restore my brother Nakul. And then immediately Yaksha asks that why do you want Nakul? To which let us see what he replies. Is not Bhima more useful to you? Will you not benefit from his great strength in the war that will surely come? And Arjun, why do you not choose Arjun? Is he not dearer to you than all? Is he not the most handsome, the most skilled among them all in the use of arms? Why then do you choose Nakul? So here, if you see, Yaksha is trying to test Yudhishthir. What does he say? He says, why do you want to choose Nakul? Okay, don't you think Bhima is going to be more useful to you? Why? Because he has great strength. And you know very well that, a war is sure to come. So Bhima is going to help you in that war. And why not Arjun? Isn't Arjun dearer to you? Is he not the most handsome of all? Okay, the most skilled of all brothers that you have. So instead of these two, why do you choose Nakul? Then Yudhishthir gave his noblest answer. Listen, O Yaksha, he said. Righteousness and truth are man's only weapon and protection. The strength of Bhima and the skill of Arjun would be of no use to me if I acted unrighteously. Indeed, I would be unrighteous if I looked to my own gain and begged for Bhima's life or Arjun's in preference to Nakula's. For Nakul is Madri's son, and Bhima and Arjun, like me, are Kunti's children. Of Kunti's children, I at least live. But if Nakul and Sahadev should both die, then Madri's line would end. Therefore, O Yaksha, is it right that Nakul's life should be restored? Therefore, O Yaksha, it is right that Nakul's life should be restored rather than Bhima or Arjun's. So, what a fantastic answer, what a fantastic reply Yudhishthir gives over here to Yaksha when Yaksha tells him why not choose Bhima or Arjun. So, what does he say? He says, righteousness and truth. What is righteousness? The quality of being morally right or justifiable. Okay, he was morally being correct. So he says, righteousness and truth are man's only weapon and protection. The strength of Bhima and skill of Arjun will be of no use to me if I act in a wrong way, in unrighteous way. Indeed, I would be unrighteous if I choose Arjun and Bhima, because that would be my gain. Okay. Then he says that Nakul is Madri's son. If you remember, I told you, King Pandu had 2 wives. Okay. Yudhishthir, Bhima and Arjun, they were, they had, the mother was one, and the other one, Nakul and Sahadev, they were King Pandu's and Madri's children. And their mother was Kunti. Okay. So he says, at least Kunti's line will be alive, because I am still alive. But if I choose Bhima or Arjun, Madri's line would come to an end. Therefore, he says, it is right that you restore Nakul's life rather than Bhima or Arjun's. Now we will see in our next class what Yaksha does. Does he bring back Bhima to Bhima? Does he restore Bhima's life, Arjun's life, or he restores Nakul's life? That we will see in our next class. So what you will do, students? You will revise the lesson till here, till wherever I have taught you. We'll catch up very soon in our next class, and that will be the concluding part of our lesson. So we'll meet next week. Till then, you will take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.